She's not human, but she's alive. The sky was dark when Jack saw the light. It wasn't lightning. It wasn't a star. It was something falling, fast, burning, crashing through the clouds. He was in the forest, far from the city. He lived alone, fixing old machines in a quiet cabin surrounded by trees. Peace was rare these days, and Jack liked the silence. But that night, silence ended. A loud boom shook the ground. Animals ran. Birds flew in panic. Jack stood outside, staring at the smoke rising between the trees. His radio crackled. A weak signal. Something, or someone, was calling for help. Jack grabbed his flashlight, his old backpack, and moved toward the crash. It didn't take long. Trees were broken. The ground burned black. Metal pieces were everywhere, some still glowing hot. And in the center of it all, a broken pod. Not human. Not from Earth. He moved closer, carefully. The pod door was half open, sparks flying from inside. Then he saw her. A girl. Maybe 17 or 18 in human years. But she wasn't human. Her skin was pale blue, glowing softly. Her eyes closed, had a faint light behind them. Thin wires connected to her arms, chest, and back. Some were broken, some still blinking. One of her legs was metal. Her chest barely moved, like she was breathing, but only just. Jack didn't think. He pulled her out, wrapped her in his jacket, and carried her home. She didn't weigh much, like a feather with metal bones. In his cabin, Jack cleared the table. He placed her down gently. His hands moved fast, checking her vitals, scanning her body with his old army tools. The results were strange. Part biological, part machine. Her heart was organic, but something powered it. Her lungs were working, but slow. Too slow. The scanner beeped. Jack looked at the screen. Bio-core failure. Total shutdown in 72 hours. 3 days. That's all she had. Jack sat down. He hadn't seen anything like her before. Not even in the war. Who was she? Where did she come from? Why did she crash? She opened her eyes. Blue, glowing, but afraid. She tried to move. Wires sparked. Her body twitched in pain. "It's okay," Jack said softly. "You're safe now." She didn't understand the words, but his voice was calm, his eyes kind. She relaxed. Jack brought water. She didn't drink. Instead, she pointed at a small device on her wrist, a broken, blinking red. He picked it up, connected it to his tools. Old military training helped. He repaired drones before. This wasn't too different. The device blinked once, then projected a small hologram into the air. Jack saw a world, not Earth. Tall silver towers, blue skies with 2 suns, strange creatures walking in peace. Then, fire. Explosions. Ships in the sky. War, screaming, and her. The alien girl. Running, hiding, escaping in the pod. The image ended. Jack looked at her. "Your world," he whispered. "It's gone?" She nodded. A tear rolled down her cheek. It sparkled like light. The next day, Jack tried to talk to her more. He drew pictures, food, tools, stars, ships. She understood some. She pointed at his tools, made a motion with her hands. She needed help, needed repairs, needed something inside her to be fixed. Jack scanned her again. The damage was deep. The core inside her, whatever powered her, was unstable. Breaking, down. He had tools, spare parts. But this tech was not from Earth. If he tried to fix it the wrong way, she could die. But doing nothing, she would die anyway. Jack made a choice. "I'm going to help you," he said. "I don't know how yet, but I will." She looked at him, really looked at him. Then she took his hand. Her fingers were cold, metal under soft skin, but they held hope. That night, Jack opened a locked drawer. Inside, an old AI chip, banned after the war. Too dangerous, but smart, powerful. It could help him understand alien tech. Jack hesitated, then connected it to His console. A cold voice spoke. System online. Waiting for instructions. Jack whispered. Help me save her. Outside the cabin, something in the forest moved. A quiet click. A hidden eye opened. The signal from the crash. Someone else had received it and they were coming. 72 hours. The clock is ticking. Jack didn't sleep that night. He watched the alien girl breathe, slow, weak breaths. Her glowing eyes flickered now and then, like she was dreaming. Maybe remembering home. Or maybe dying. The scanner still said the same thing. Biocore failure. Shut down in 72 hours. Jack stared at the screen. He had seen soldiers with bombs inside them, machines with self-destruct codes. But never this. Never a living being with a countdown inside her chest. He stepped outside. Cold night air touched his face. The forest was silent. Too silent. Somewhere out there, someone was listening. Someone knew she was here. The crash was loud. The signal was loud. It wouldn't be long before others arrived, but who would come first? Rescue? Or hunters? Morning came. The girl opened her eyes again. Slower this time. She looked weaker. Jack brought her food. Soft bread, fruit, warm water. She didn't eat. Instead, she pointed at the table, at the wires, at the tools. She was saying, "Worst start." Jack hesitated. "I need to understand what you are first," he said softly. He powered up the AI chip, the one from the war. A voice came from the console, cold and robotic. Foreign technology detected. Language unknown. Structure unknown. Energy source unstable. Do you wish to proceed? Jack said one word. Yes. The screen filled with strange symbols. Then, blueprints. Parts of the girl's body scanned and showed in 3D. The AI worked fast. It mapped her systems. Biomechanical parts mixed with energy circuits. Then it found something dangerous. Her core wasn't just dying, it was leaking. If it failed completely, it wouldn't just kill her, it could release a blast strong enough to destroy the cabin, maybe the whole forest. Jack turned to her. She was watching him, calm, like she already knew. You knew it would happen, didn't you? He asked. She blinked slowly, then nodded. Jack sat down, hands shaking. Why did you let me bring you here? No, answer. Then she raised her hand, touched his chest. Where his heart was, it was her way of saying, because you care. Jack remembered the war, remembered losing people he tried to save, remembered watching them die. Maybe this was his second chance. He stood up. All right, he said. We start now. For the next few hours, Jack worked nonstop. He cleaned broken circuits, replaced burnt wires with ones from his old machines. He opened a panel on her back, carefully, and found a cracked metal shell with a soft pulse. Inside, that was her core. It glowed faintly, blue and gold lights circling like a tiny galaxy. But it was breaking, unstable, like a dying star. The AI spoke again. Replacement energy source required. Compatible unit not found on Earth. Jack cursed. Then what do I do? Build one, the AI replied. Or she dies. Jack started searching his old storage units. He had spare power cores, drone batteries, fusion cells. None were strong enough, until he remembered something. Beneath the cabin, locked in a metal box, was an experimental unit from the war. A hybrid energy cell. Unstable, untested, dangerous. Jack swore he'd never use it. But now, he had no choice. As he brought it out, the girl looked at it. Her eyes widened slightly. She whispered one word in her language. Soft, almost like a prayer. Jack didn't know what it meant, but he nodded. Yeah, it's risky. We both know that. He placed it next to her core. The lights reacted immediately on glowing brighter. A signal passed between them. It was a match. The AI said, synchronization possible, success chance 46%. Jack smiled without humor. Better than most missions I've had. He looked at her. This will hurt. You still want to do it? She didn't speak. Instead, she reached out and took his hand again. Answer given. The operation started, wires connected, tools clicked, power surged. As Jack removed her dying core, her body shook. Lights in the cabin flickered. Alarms screamed. The forest outside trembled. He pushed the new core in, locked it, powered it. For 5 seconds, nothing happened. Then, a scream. Not from her mouth, from her mind. Jack heard it inside his skull, sharp, loud, alien. His vision blurred. Nose bled, hands shook, then silence. Her eyes opened, glowing bright. Her skin shimmered like silver light, and she breathed, deep, strong, alive. She sat up slowly, touched her chest. Her hand glowed. Jack stepped back, breathing hard. You okay? He asked. She turned to him, and for the first time, spoke a word in English. Thank you. Jack froze. She had learned, listened, remembered. He smiled. You're welcome. But outside in the dark trees a new light appeared, not from the stars, from a ship. A black shadow hovered above the trees, silent, deadly, watching. Inside it, eyes locked onto the cabin, a voice spoke in a language older than Earth. Target confirmed. Asset still alive. Begin Phase 2. Visitors in the dark. The forest was still. Too still. Jack felt it first. Not sound, but silence. A strange, sharp silence. No wind, no birds. Even the trees seemed afraid to move. Inside the cabin, Lyra sat near the window. Her new energy core, pulsed with soft golden light, stronger now. Her eyes brighter, her breathing steady. She was healing, but Jack wasn't at peace. The scan showed movement, 5 miles away. Fast. Too fast for animals. He didn't tell Lyra yet. She looked calm for the first time since she crashed. He didn't want to break that moment. But deep inside he knew something was coming, something that wanted her back. Jack locked down the cabin. Old war reflexes returned. He loaded his rifle, set up motion sensors, activated the old defense drones, buried in the dirt outside. Rusty but still loyal. Then he opened a hidden drawer under the floorboards. Inside was a small black box. Scratched, cold, dangerous. A beacon jammer. He turned it off, and instantly, the cabin's walls began to shake. Signal burst into the sky. For days, Jack had unknowingly been holding back the alien signal from the crash. Now, it was free. Above the clouds, something heard it and responded. At sunset, Jack walked outside. The sky turned red. Beautiful, but heavy. Like it knew war was near. He didn't notice Lyra behind him. You turned it off, she said quietly. Her English was better now, fast learner. Her voice was soft, calm, but her eyes, they were scared. Jack nodded. They were coming anyway. Now at least we know. She stepped beside him. The wind played with her silver blue hair. Her hand touched the old rifle on Jack's back. They won't stop, she said. They don't care if I live or die. Only what's inside me. Jack looked at her. What's inside you? She hesitated, then whispered, a map. A map to what? The last gate. Jack frowned. What kind of gate? She looked up at the stars. The kind that ends wars, or starts them. Night fell. Deep in the trees, machines moved. 6 tall figures, wrapped in armor dark as oil with glowing red eyes. No faces, no emotions, only orders. They moved without sound. Scanning, searching. One of them raised a hand. Red light spread in a circle. It stopped near Jack's cabin, target locked. Inside the cabin, Jack and Lyra sat in silence. She had drawn something on the table, a star map. Simple dots connected with thin lines. Jack recognized one of the systems. Near Mars. This is real? She nodded. What happens if they get it? She looked at him, then said slowly. They find the gate. They bring a fleet. Earth falls next. Jack stood. Not on my watch. He walked to the back wall, pulled off a metal panel, and revealed something he had not touched in 10 years. His old combat exosuit. Dusty. Scratched, but still strong. Lyra looked at it. You were a soldier? Once, Jack replied. Not anymore. You are now. The first attack came without warning. A flash. A hole in the wall. A drone exploded near the cabin window. Pieces flew everywhere. Jack pulled Lyra to the floor. Stay down! Outside, red lights danced through the trees. The 6 hunters moved like ghosts, silent, deadly. Jack grabbed his rifle, pulled on the exosuit, and stepped outside. You picked the wrong forest, he muttered. The battle was brutal. Jack fought like a ghost from the past. His rifle fired energy rounds, each shot hitting with precision. The exosuit boosted his speed and strength. But the hunters were smarter than machines. They adapted, moved fast, disappeared and reappeared. Jack barely dodged a plasma blast that burned half a tree. Lyra watched from inside, terrified, but calm. She saw one of the hunters slip behind Jack, ready to strike. Her hands glowed. For a second, the energy inside her flared, and she raised her arm. A beam of golden blue light shot out, blasting the attacker into pieces. Lyra fell back, weak again. Jack saw the explosion and turned. Was that you? She nodded, breathing hard. Remind me not to make you angry, he said with a grin, but he was bleeding, hit in the shoulder. Armor cracked. The suit was old, and so was he. He fell to one knee. The final hunter stepped out of the shadows, blade in hand. Too close. Jack lifted his rifle. Empty. The hunter raised its blade. Then, a second beam of light. Clean. Sharp. Straight through the hunter's chest. It fell. Lyra stood behind it, her hand smoking. Jack looked up at her. You okay? He asked. She helped him up. You? He laughed softly. Been worse. By morning, the forest was quiet again. Smoke in the trees, burning metal, broken machines. But they had survived. Jack sat on the porch, bandaged, tired. Lyra sat beside him, staring at the sky. More will come, she said. I know. They won't stop. Jack nodded. Neither will we. She looked at him. Why do you care? She asked. Jack didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, because once I didn't, and good people died. The scanner beeped. A new signal. Different this time. Not a hunter. Not hostile. A small ship entering orbit. Quiet. Unknown. Jack stood slowly. Lyra looked at the screen. Her eyes widened. That's not them. Friend or foe? Jack asked. She didn't know, and that made it worse. Steel and shadows. The smoke from the battle was still rising when the strange ship entered Earth's orbit. It didn't roar like human rockets. It made no sound at all. Just a flicker in the clouds, like a shadow moving without light. Jack watched the scanner. One blinking dot getting closer. Slow. Steady. Not a hunter ship. Different shape. Softer edges. Quiet. But that didn't make it safe. They found us again? Jack asked. Lyra stared at the screen. Her face was pale, her eyes filled with something he hadn't seen before. Not fear. Not hope. Guilt. It's not them. She whispered. It's worse. The ship landed in the clearing 3 miles east. Jack and Lyra reached there by dusk, hiding in the trees. Both were tired, wounded, but ready. The ship was small, silver, and shaped like a tear. No weapons on the outside. It hummed, like it was alive. Then the door opened and something stepped out. A man. Human. Or at least, he looked human. Tall, with dark armor that shimmered like liquid metal. No weapons visible, but his eyes, silver, cold, scanned everything in 1 second. He looked at Jack, then at Lyra, and smiled. "Hello, child," he said to her. "You look stronger than the last time." Lyra took a step back. Jack moved, in front of her. "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. "You can call me Silas." He looked around. "You did well keeping her alive. Impressive for a primitive." Jack raised his gun. "What do you want?" Silas raised his hands, not in fear, but amusement. "I'm not here to fight. Not yet." Lyra finally spoke. "You shouldn't be here. The code was broken. You're not allowed near Earth." "And yet," Silas said, smiling, "here I am." Jack lowered his gun a little, not because he trusted Silas, but because he could tell this man wasn't afraid of it. "What is he?" Jack asked Lyra quietly. She didn't answer. Silas did. "I'm her creator," he said. Jack blinked. "Her... what?" "I built the first version of her kind." Silas continued. "Biomechs. Warborn. Perfect minds and perfect machines. Until she ran." He looked at Lyra again. "You were the most human, the first one to ask why." Lyra's hands shook. "I didn't want to be a weapon," she said. "I wanted to be free." Silas nodded. "And so you stole the map, fled across 3 systems, let them burn while you played pretend." Jack stepped between them again. "She's not going anywhere with you." Silas sighed. "This isn't about want, Jack. This is about balance. Do you know what's in her memory core?" "A map," Jack said. "To some gate." "Not some gate," Silas corrected. "The gate. The last one." He stepped closer. "When it opens, time folds. Stars shift. Empires move. The one who holds the gate holds everything." Silas pointed to the sky. "Others are coming. Not hunters, not scavengers. The ones who built the first machines. The ones who erased a galaxy in 1 hour." He looked back at Lyra. "And they know she has the path." Jack stared at her. "Is it true?" Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes. I memorized it before I ran." Silas smiled sadly. "And now she leads them here." Jack's voice was cold. "Why are you telling us this?" "Because I want to make a deal," Silas said. Jack laughed once. "With you?" "You keep her alive," Silas replied. "I need her alive. The others don't. They'll tear this planet apart to pull the map from her brain." Jack's grip on his gun tightened. "What kind of deal?" Silas turned and walked back toward his ship. "When they come, I'll be here. Helping you." He paused. "But in the end, she gives me the key. Or Earth dies." After he left, silence returned. Jack and Lyra walked back to the cabin. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Jack said, "Is it true they'll come for you for what's in your head?" Lyra sat down, holding her knees. "Yes, I thought I could hide it, that if I ran far enough no one would find me." She looked up. "But they always find me." Jack sat beside her. "You're not alone now." That night, Jack had a dream. The sky was filled with fire, cities burning, machines crawling over mountains, ships floating in oceans. Lyra stood in the middle of it all, glowing, powerful but broken. A voice echoed through the dream. "She brings light. Or extinction." Jack woke up in sweat. The scanner was blinking again. A fleet had entered the solar system. 9 ships. Massive, old, unknown design. Not from any world Jack had seen in his war days. Lyra came beside him. "They're early," she said softly. Jack looked at her. "How much time do we have?" "Less than 1 day," she replied. He stood, walked to the center of the cabin, opened the floor, revealed one last project. Something he hadn't touched in years. A machine, unfinished, powerful, dangerous. "What is that?" Lyra asked. Jack wiped dust off it. Something I built when I thought humanity might need a second chance. He looked at her. Maybe now it's time to finish it. The battle for the gate. Jack had always believed war was over for him, but war was coming again, not like before, not bullets and borders. This time, the fight would decide the future of more than just Earth. This time, the war was for the stars. The alien fleet was still 6 hours out. 6 ships. No. 8 now. Big. Slow. Silent. Like mountains floating in space. They didn't answer any hails. They didn't broadcast their names. They didn't warn. They just came. And Jack knew. They weren't coming to talk. In the forest cabin, Jack worked faster than ever before. Wires sparked under his fingers. Metal parts rattled on the workbench. Blueprints, part human, part alien, were spread across the floor. He was building something, an old dream. A machine he once designed during the war, but never had the courage to finish. A defensive unit. AI assisted. Part drone, part exosuit. Big enough to carry a railgun. Small enough to move through forest. Powered by a hybrid core, he named it Sentinel-1, and tonight, it had to wake up. Lyra stood near the window. She hadn't spoken in over an hour. She just watched the sky, her glowing eyes locked on the stars. The fleet was still far, but she could feel them. She always felt them before they arrived. Each ship had a voice. Each one whispered in her mind they were calling for her, not to return home, not to be rescued, but to be erased. Jack powered up Sentinel-1. Its frame shook, engines hummed, lights flickered, then, online. The old AI core spoke. Unit activated, awaiting combat protocol. Jack sighed in relief. Took you long enough. He turned to Lyra. We have one shot. If we can't stop them before they reach orbit, they'll drop fire on this planet. Lyra nodded, but she looked different now. Her skin shimmered more brightly. Her energy was rising. They're not just after me, she said. They want the gate. Jack frowned. What is it really? She sat down and took a small broken metal disc from her pocket. It had symbols Jack couldn't read. This is the key, she said. I built the map to hide it. Hide what? The gate is not just a portal, it's a weapon. Jack stepped back. You mean like a bomb? No, she said softly. Worse. It rewrites reality, changes timelines, deletes civilizations. From history, Jack stared. Why would anyone build that? She didn't answer, but he saw her eyes. She already knew. Midnight. The ships were closer now, entering the atmosphere. Breaking clouds. Silent like falling giants. Cities across the globe were picking them up. News was spreading. People were scared. The world's governments were blind. They had no warning, no plan, and no time. But Jack had a plan. On the edge of the valley, he set the trap. He powered up the long-range signal disruptor. If it worked, it would confuse their sensors, make Earth seem empty for a few minutes, just enough time. He placed Sentinel-1 at the cliff's edge. Hidden, armed, ready. Then he turned to Lyra. They'll come for you, not me. She nodded. So, you'll have to be the one to finish this. They came just before dawn. First, silence, then a wind too strong, too cold, then fire in the sky. One of the ships opened. A beam of light shot downward, scanning the valley. Nothing. Then they saw her. Lyra stood alone on top of the hill, her silver skin glowing in the early sun. She waited. From the ship, they sent their first soldier. Not a man, a shadow. Black armor, tall as 2 men. Blade for an arm. Red eyes. More followed. 10, 20, 50. Silent, soulless, the erase protocol had begun. Jack whispered into the mic. Wait for it. Wait, now. He hit the trigger. Sentinel-1 roared to life. Railgun fired. 1 soldier exploded. The rest turned. Battle began. Jack ran with his rifle. covering Lyra as she moved toward the uplink tower, the only place she could send the gate key into space to safety. Lasers flew. Drones screamed. Trees caught fire. Earth shook. Lyra's hands lit with gold blue light. Each blast from her palms burned through enemies. But she was weakening. Every shot drained her. Jack knew she couldn't hold out. He dove in front of her, took a hit, screamed, armor cracked. Blood. He didn't stop. But then, the sky changed. New ship appeared, small, sleek, silver. It landed with a hiss right behind the battlefield, and from it stepped Silas. Calm, unburned, untouched by chaos. He walked through the fire like it was rain. The soldiers stopped, turned, bowed. Jack lifted, his rifle. "What the hell are you doing?" Silas smiled. "Finishing what I started." He looked at Lyra. "You brought the map." "Thank you." He held out his hand. "Give me the key." Lyra stared. "You said you'd help." "I did," he said. "I helped keep you alive. Now it's time for you to help me." Jack stood, bleeding, barely able to lift his arm. "Don't," he whispered to her. "Don't trust him." Silas sighed. "You don't understand, Jack. This isn't about Earth. This is about control. About who tells the story of the universe." He stepped closer. "You give me that key and no war ever happens again, because no one will remember they did." Lyra closed her eyes, then opened them and said one word. "No." She turned, threw the key disc into the air. A beam shot from her hand. The disc exploded, sending its encrypted data to a hidden satellite Jack had placed long ago. Backup plan. The gate would open, but not to Silas. He roared. "What have you done?" Lyra collapsed. Jack stepped in front of her. "We made a choice," he said. "Now you live with it." The enemy soldiers attacked again. But something had changed. The moment the gate signal left Earth, the sky opened. Not with fire, with light. A wormhole. Giant. Golden. Alive, and from it. Ships. Not enemies. Not Silas. But someone else. The ones who remembered what the galaxy was before the war, and they had come to protect the last flame of hope. Steel hearts and broken stars. The sky was still bleeding light. Above the Earth, the wormhole remained open. A golden wound in space. A gate to somewhere old. Somewhere dangerous. New ships had come through. But not enemies. They were different. Ancient in design. Silver like bones moving with grace and like they were alive. Jack didn't recognize the symbols on them. But Lyra did. She whispered, barely awake. The Keepers. Jack carried her to safety. She had collapsed after sending. The gate code. Her energy core flickered, weaker now. She had burned too much, too fast. She was breaking again. "Hang in there," Jack whispered, holding her close. "Don't do this now." Her skin was cold, her glowing eyes dim. The cabin was gone. Fire had swallowed it during the battle. Jack found shelter in the underground bunker, one he had prepared years ago and never thought he'd need again. Now, it was all he had. And all she had. Outside, the war paused. Silas had vanished when the gate opened. His soldiers had retreated, scattered by the appearance of the Keeper's fleet. But he wasn't gone. He was watching. Waiting. Planning. Inside the bunker, Jack hooked Lyra to a power source. Small. Not strong enough to fully recharge her, but enough to buy time. He looked at her broken frame. Cracks in the synthetic skin. Metal joints overheating. Her heart. Part machine, part miracle. Still beating. But slowing. He ran every test, every scan. Then stared at the screen. Core failure. 21% stability projected shutdown. 12 hours he hit the table. No. Not again. Then, the AI voice from Sentinel-1 spoke softly through the comm system. Solution. Possible. Partial transfer. Jack looked up. Transfer what? Biosynthetic pairing protocol. Human host compatible. 1.1 ratio. Risk. Extreme. Jack frowned. English, please. You can give her your core, the AI said. Your heart, your energy. She lives, you don't. Jack sat in silence, his hand touched his chest. His pulse, old, scarred, but alive. He had survived wars, betrayal, silence, regret. Now, he had something worth saving. Someone. Hours passed. He sat beside her, remembered every moment. Her first breath, her first word, her light. He wasn't sure when it happened. When the mission to save a strange alien girl became something more. Maybe it was the moment she called him by his name. Or maybe the moment she risked everything to save him in the woods. He touched her hand. You gave me a reason to fight again, he said, and I can't let you die. Above, the fleet sent a message. The keepers wanted to meet. Jack stepped out of the bunker, walked into the open field where the last battle was fought. Small ship landed, silent, smooth. A single figure exited, tall, hooded, silver eyes. Not quite human. Not quite machine. The keeper spoke. You opened the gate, it said, and now the galaxy waits. Jack nodded. I didn't do it alone. The keeper looked at him. Its voice was like wind and memory. The one called Lyra holds the path. But she is dying. Jack's fists clenched. Then help her. The keeper shook its head. She is more than what we can fix. She is choice. Sacrifice must be made. By her, or by you. Jack understood. This was never about weapons. This was about who was willing to give everything for something they loved. He returned to the bunker, sat beside her, watched the light fade from her eyes, and made a decision. AI, he said. Begin. The transfer protocol. The voice replied. Are you certain? This is a one-way process. Jack looked at Lyra. Yeah, he whispered. I'm certain. The machine powered up. Cables attached to his chest, to hers, his blood, her circuits, his heart, her core. The lines blurred. Pain followed, bright and endless. His body shook. Memories flashed like lightning. His mother's face, his team, the forest, her eyes. His breath slowed, hers returned. Somewhere far above, Silas watched. In his ship, surrounded by shadows, he saw the screen light up. New signal. Core fusion detected subject Jack. Terminated subject Lyra. Stabilized, he smiled. But not with joy, with rage. Lyra woke up. She gasped. Light filled her chest, her body, fixed, stronger, sharper, her mind, clear. And beside her, still and silent, lay Jack. Gone, she screamed. A sound that broke mountains and melted ice. But it wasn't sorrow alone. It was fury. She stepped outside. Above her, the stars moved. The keepers waited. Silas hunted. The gate shimmered, now fully open. But Lyra had changed. She was not just machine, not just alien. She was hope and grief and steel and fire. She was Jack's legacy, and she would not run anymore. The gate whispered, inviting, dangerous. One last choice remained. Step through it, or close it forever. The girl who walked alone. The gate stood open, massive, golden, spinning with light that bent the sky and shook the earth. Above it, ships circled like crows. Silas watched from his hidden ship, his silver eyes cold, his machines ready. He knew Lyra was alive. He knew Jack was gone, and now there was nothing left between him and power. But he was wrong. Lyra stood on the hilltop, wind swirling around her. Her new body, fused, repaired, glowed with energy, but something inside her was missing. Not wires, not strength, something deeper. She touched her chest. Jack's heart was still beating there, not just his energy core, his sacrifice, his memory, his love. The keepers waited in silence. Their lead emissary approached her, floating inches above the ground, wrapped in silver cloth that shimmered like moonlight. You are ready, it said. Lyra didn't answer. Her eyes were on the gate. What happens if I enter? She asked. The keeper replied, You become the voice, the path, the key. And if I destroy it? The keeper hesitated. Then you burn the bridge between stars. Forever. A second voice broke the silence. Or you give it to me. Silas stepped into the field, calm, slow, confident. His armor reflected the sky. His hands empty, but his threat clear. Give me the code, Lyra. Let me take the burden. She turned to face him. You never wanted peace, she said. No, Silas replied. I wanted order. Peace is just a word. The keepers moved to protect her, but Silas raised one hand, and from the sky a new ship dropped like a hammer. Massive, black, with red symbols etched into its hull. It struck the ground with a quake. Soldiers poured out, not like the old ones. These were faster, sharper, and worse. They were silent, soulless. The final army had arrived. The war that Jack tried to stop was here. Lyra closed her eyes. She heard Jack's voice, not with ears, but with memory. You don't have to win everything, Lyra, just the one thing that matters. She opened her eyes and ran toward the gate. The battle exploded around her. Blades clashed. Plasma burned. Machines screamed. The keepers fought with beams of light and thought. Ancient weapons beyond human understanding. Silas walked through it all, untouched. His eyes only on her, Lyra reached the final platform, the gate core. Its center hovered in the air, spinning like a star being born. Thousands of languages floated around it. Names, timelines, fates, one touch, one choice, and everything changes. Silas landed behind her. Last chance, Lyra. She turned. Jack gave his life for this. And what did it buy you? Silas shouted. Pain? Loss? No, she said. Clarity. He attacked, on fast. Lyra dodged. They clashed under the stars. She moved with speed she didn't know she had. But he was still stronger. Every punch echoed across the hill. Her energy flickered. He grabbed her arm, crushed it. You're just a machine, he growled. But she smiled through the pain. Then, why are you losing? She drove her fist into his chest, not to kill but to plant something. A memory shard, one Jack had left behind, hidden inside her systems. A gift, a trap. Silas froze. Inside his mind he saw Jack, smiling. You always wanted to control everything, Jack's voice echoed. But you never learned what real strength is. Lyra broke free, ran blood in her mouth, fire on her back. She reached the gate core, 1 second left, and made her choice. The sky cracked, a light so bright it turned night into day. The machine stopped. The HFY keepers froze. Silas screamed and then vanished. The gate closed, not destroyed, sealed, not by force, but by will, and in doing so, it gave its final gift. Silence. Wind, ashes floating like snow. Lyra lay on the ground, breathless, the light in her chest barely glowing. The keepers approached, silent. One touched her forehead. You chose sacrifice. Opened her eyes. I chose Jack. A new dawn began, somewhere far away. A man opened his eyes. The room was quiet, metal walls, soft lights. He looked at his hands. Alive, his chest, patched, rebuilt, glowing faintly. A keeper stood nearby. Where? She returned your gift, it said. Jack sat up. Lyra? Gone, but not lost. The keeper handed him a device, nor her memory core. Her voice whispered from it. Thank you, Jack, for making me more than a machine. Now go, and be more than a soldier. Epilogue. Years later, a small ship flew past a blue star, on its side, a symbol. HFY-01. Inside it, a pilot placed a metal core into a wall. Lights activated. A soft voice spoke. Destination? Jack smiled. Someplace worth saving. And behind him, a new star map shimmered into view. Drawn by hand, by someone who once walked alone, but was never truly alone.